Hello, so this learning resource is all around self-sabotage. Now, self-sabotage happens when you are in a good spot and you subconsciously do something to slash your own tires. Now, the reason behind that, there's loads of different theories, but essentially what a lot of people would lean towards and what I would believe in is that if you come from an environment or a background or a history where you're so used to feeling negative and low and shitty, for want of a better word, then when you're succeeding, when you're winning, your brain thinks that's alien and it wants to seek out the safety of what it knows. It knows negativity, it knows feeling shit, it knows feeling low. So you subconsciously do things that might slash your own tires, whether that's binge eating, whether that's not doing the steps that you need to do, whether that is not checking in, whatever it might be. Okay? So what we need to understand is that self-sabotage is a form of pattern. Okay, so it is a cycle. It is a pattern that you're used to being here, you've gotten here, and your brain thinks, whoa, this is unsafe, this is new uncharted territory, I want to go back to my norm, my pattern. So how can we prevent self-sabotage? How can we mitigate self-sabotage? How can we lessen the impact of self-sabotage? So the big thing for me is pattern interrupts. Okay, so there are two types of pattern interrupts. You have a physical pattern interrupt and you have an emotional or a thought pattern interrupt. For me personally, the most practical that you can implement is a physical pattern interrupt because it physically moves you or it physically redirects those thoughts. So giving you a practical example, say I am all the way through a week. My check-in was Monday. I've done everything I needed to do all the way through the week. It's got to Saturday night tonight. I've done all my steps so far. I've hit all my protein. I've hit all my gym sessions. Everything's going really, really well. But I've had a stressful day today. Say something happened today and I'm in the house by myself and a binge urge comes on. I want to order Chinese. I want to go get ice cream. I want to eat crisps, whatever it might be. That is an example of self-sabotage because everything has gone really, really well so far this week and I am about to throw it all away. So what do I need to do? I need to do one of two things. I need to either physically pattern interrupt or emotionally pattern interrupt. Now, emotionally pattern interruptions work, but it takes you to have a lot of practice at it, okay? So an easier and more practical thing is to physically pattern interrupt and stop that pattern of self-sabotage, which is a cycle. So for me personally, I like physically moving my environment. If I'm in the house by myself and that's where I'm having this stress or that's where I'm having this binge urge, whatever it might be, physically removing myself from that environment is massively helpful. Whether that be go see a friend, whether that go take the dogs to the park, whether that's go to the gym, whether that's go for a walk by myself, whether that's go see family. Physically changing your environment is physically stimulating and it is emotionally stimulating because it changes what you're seeing in front of you and it takes you out of that environment. If your issue is happening here, don't stay here, physically move that, okay? Another thing that you can do, like micro pattern interrupts, would be small things like taking a cold shower, would be things like taking breathing exercises, kind of like belly breathing, box breathing, roller coaster breathing. If you don't know these things, let me know and I will talk to you about them. Things that are physically different to what you're doing. If you're physically sitting on your sofa or you're physically sitting in your bedroom, you need to change that. You need to change the environment. You need to pattern interrupt by physically doing something different. Another thing that I spoke to another Revive member about this week was a pattern interrupt for me personally, if I'm having these negative urges or feelings, is that I will go and physically lift my acoustic guitar. I'm shit at it. But what it does is physically changes what I'm doing with my hands and it emotionally makes me focus on the guitar to think about chord patterns and things like that. I'll go and try and learn a song, okay? That in itself is a coping mechanism. It is a pattern interrupt. So that is just a little bit of a thought process around A, why we self-sabotage, and B, how you can pattern interrupt when those feelings come on.